welcome to Hunter Fuel, a supernatural rewatch podcast for adults who enjoy their show with a chaser. I'm Liz.
And I'm Lynn.
Thanks so much for joining us for season 1, episode 10, Asylum. We model responsible drunkenness here. All participants are way over 21. No one is pregnant. No one will be driving, operating heavy machinery, handling weapons, driving submarines, flying planes. None of that. If you're playing along with us, those are the rules. If you decide not to follow them and you do something stupid, don't blame us. Once again, before I forget, we are going to be doing a season wrap up episode in between seasons 1 and 2. So if there are any things that you want us to discuss, any questions you have, things you think we missed, please comment for this video and we'll be sure to include your questions or comments if we're able. Um, Lynn, what are you drinking this evening?
Okay, so I went a little silly.
Oh, I love it. What did you do?
So I decided to combine a couple of vodkas that I have. So I am combining a pink lemonade with
Okay.
a blue vodka. And yeah,
It is
this
it
sucker just
purple?
no. The funny thing is that it, even though it is pink and blue, it stays blue.
Okay, well, that's an interesting gender reveal cocktail that you have there.
Yes.
Well,
How
for
it
this
doesn't go purple, I've never understood, but it never does.
the the summer camp I don't have any children, so I haven't gone, but my friends who send their kids there, the boys are all in one wing and the girls are all in the other. And they're very fond of saying girls are pink and boys are blue, no making purple.
Well, as I said, I was not able to, even though every time I'm like, how does that not go purple?
Apparently, it's magic. Well, the featured cocktail for this episode is an Asylum, and it is equal parts London dry gin and anisette liqueur. So sambuca, ouzo, raki, one of those. Build that in a glass, stir, add in ice, and drizzle a few drops of grenadine over the ice. I'm not gonna
Boy,
lie, I'm nervous about this one. It
I was
it
gonna
it's sitting. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, oh dear Lord, that is potent.
It's sitting here next to me and it smells interesting. So, Wizard Dave, can you bring up our supernatural game cards for us and let's see how much trouble I'm in.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if this is a real boozy episode because I'm not I'm not expecting it to be.
You know, I'm actually a little grateful. I don't think mine is going to be either. Um I say that every episode and I usually end up coming out a square or so ahead of you. But
Yes,
I'm not
yes, you
gonna
do.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm hoping I'm wrong this time, or I should say I'm hoping I'm right this time. So as always, the first one is on the house. Okay, here goes nothing.
I was like, I gotta see the facial expression
Oh
when you.
no. Oh no.
Woo!
Okay. Okay. I I think it's called the asylum because it's a war crime. Wow. Oh my god, my eyes are watering.
hoping this is not a boozy episode.
Oh, oh, very much so. Okay, I'm all right.
The look on your face was priceless.
Do not recommend. 0 stars. Uh, all right. On that note, pray for me, folks. This is going to be rough. Uh, let's get this show on the road. Okay, our
Oh God,
trailer
help us.
begins. This is our standard trailer we've been getting. Obviously, there's a lot from the pilot. We have our little teaser with a really cool knife that only shows up in the pilot we never see again. We have the journal. Journal features sort of heavily in this episode, so it's nice to see it here in our little previously on segment. And we start in Roosevelt Asylum. My eye is still watering. In Illinois, we've got all the keep out condemned signs. They have come to the excuse me. I'm breathing fire here. This is not good. So this is once again the Riverview Hospital. I love how this is filmed with the close-ups on the chain and them cutting this like very old timey lock here. Um, and the police have arrived talking about kids and how they won't stay out of the place. One of the officers, Officer Kelly, is new, and so the veteran police officer is saying, "Oh, this is Roosevelt Asylum." They say it's haunted. They say if you spend the night, the spirits will drive you insane. And with that, they walk in. It's all dark because it's abandoned. They have their flashlights. They're saying, police, and they're looking for the kids who have broken in. Excuse me. We have trash and booze bottles all over the place. So this is clearly someplace the kids come um, on a lark. So they decide, which is the smartest thing to do in any horror film, they decide they're going to split up. Officer Kelly goes down to the boiler room. And so I'm going to mention this. One of the officers, the more seasoned officer, is African American. And usually in horror films, if you're Black, you're the first one to die. And I'm very happy to see that that's not what they did this time.
No
But
spoil. Not that that's a spoiler or
not as way.
anything.
I'm going to assume people have seen at least this much. Um,
Yeah.
but Officer Kelly, on the other hand, is about to have a very bad night. And I'm like, really? The
I was gonna say,
biohazard room?
yeah, I was just there's so much that goes badly in this scene that it's like, seriously?
You are
Just
in the biohazard room. What could possibly go wrong in a haunted asylum? In the
in a bio.
biohazard room.
And the answer is everything.
Everything. So here are the teenagers. They've gotten caught. They're getting rousted out.
Oh,
And we
now,
have an electronics flicker. So
yep.
I'm gonna pause this. You go ahead.
Now, I was gonna say, now that we definitely have to keep our eye on that because that becomes key in this entire episode when that flashlight goes funky.
There are a lot of funky flashlights, but thank you, Jesus. We only have to worry about the first one. So let's check our game cards here. Please. No, you remember that? You remember that game show like no whammies, no whammies, no whammies?
Yeah. You're like, please.
I yes, there's no I do
Oh, wait
not
a
have
minute.
an
I
electronic
have
flicker.
one.
Oh, good for you. I'm happy for you. I hope you get them all. I'm gonna have
So
some
you never
water.
have. Yep, I have an electronics plate. So cheers.
Cheers to you.
And I am not drinking all of this because I just realized I poured this real. Not for everybody is this a hefty pour, but for me it is.
You've got just the meniscus holding it all in there.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
like, whew. If that was bourbon, it might be a different story, but
no,
vodka, yeah, no,
no,
nope,
more
nope.
for you. All right, I am safe. Whew. Okay, hitting play. And here we've got this door creaking open. Officer
Yeah.
Kelly is looking like, what is happening? The teenagers leave, they're safe. And we've got the other officer checking to see if Officer Kelly is fine. And he's standing right behind the guy, not looking creepy at all. He looks totally normal. And he's saying, no, no, everything's fine. Um, And we've got this great shot here that I'm going to pause it to talk about in
Oh,
just a second. We've got some kind of goo dripping out of Officer Kelly's nose. This is something that, okay, I'm going to say something that's going to sound super obvious, but hang with me for a second. I was always curious how they do this. And now, obviously, I'm not a professional actor myself, but I have to assume that getting a brain hemorrhage is not something that most actors are going to sign up for.
no.
So I'm, I made the assumption that, obviously they've got some kind of sponge with fake blood in it jammed up inside their nose, which doesn't sound terribly pleasant. But I always wondered how they get it to leak out on cue.
Right.
And I happened to come across this piece of information not that long ago. So what they do is they plug up one nostril. So they've got like something, not a sponge, but something like solid in the one nostril. They put a really dense foam in the nostril they want them to leak out of. And so it's dense enough that the fake blood won't just drip out. And so what they do is on cue, they breathe out hard through their nose and it forces the fake blood out of this dense sponge. So if you watch closely,
Ah,
sometimes you can see the sides of their nose flare a little bit as the pressure builds up behind the sponge. Um, Either way, it sounds like something really unpleasant. So,
yes, and now
um,
I'm going to be staring at noses when I know that that's gonna happen.
So we've got Officer Kelly leaking goo out of his nose. I've hit play. Use a
See, now
tissue, man.
I just assumed that it was whatever it was caused a nosebleed.
Right. No, correct. It's either ectoplasm, which is something they'll talk more about later, or it's blood. It's really too dark to tell what of the two it is. But he has come home. Apparently, he and the missus had some kind of a fight earlier, and there are these really creepy shots of him, like very kind of stone faced, taking his service weapon out, putting it on the dresser. He's emptying his pockets, and we see two gunshots. That we assume he has killed his wife and then himself. Um, Now here's Dean in a quirky motel room. So I'm hitting pause. Let's check our bingo cards. Oh, I
Uh,
really hope there's no hotel rooms here.
you really do not like that drink.
I want to lose so bad. Ah,
Get-
shit balls. I have a
and
oh,
I do not.
oh, okay. All right.
You
I am
got this.
not
You got this. You got this. You got this.
I'm not making it big. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna lie. Okay. Oh,
That's about as much as I've been doing.
okay.
You got it.
All right. Whew.
You did it.
Yay.
That I'm cheering for you having a drink is pathetic.
If only, if only it were a tasty one. Uh, so yeah,
Mom will be so proud of us.
oh
I'm
yeah,
kidding.
that's my girl. She can hold her liquor even when it's shit. Yeah,
And the other one's cheering her on.
I know. All right. So okay, I'm hitting play and all right. So what we can see here is Sam and Dean in their god damn it quirky motel room, and they're calling all of their hunter contacts. They're going through the journal looking for people who might be able to give them some kind of a lead on John. And it's so frustrating because we know he was literally feet away from them in the prior episode, but they don't know he was there. So
Oh,
we know John is alive. They don't even know if he's still breathing.
yep.
Dean's phone starts to ring. He's digging through his rumpled clothes on the bed. He's digging through pockets. His flip phone from an unknown caller, but it's a set of coordinates, which Dean immediately decides must be from Dad. It's a text message from Dad. We need to go here. Um, a- and right away, Sam is like, "How do you know it was Dad?" Well, he sent us coordinates before. I love this line. The man can barely work a toaster, but they're having this argument that the coordinates are for the Roosevelt Asylum that we just saw, the Rockford, Illinois, I think it was. Um, he's Go ahead.
So I just think that it just amazes me Dean's blind faith in his dad with this.
Mm,
Like like his father barely has to say anything and it's dad has even remotely spoken, we shall go. Like I
yeah,
just find that I just find I don't want to say fascinating, but it's just like to me that is just the blind faith is just amazing
yeah.
to me.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And without giving anything away, it's something this show does explore more throughout the rest of the season. But yeah, absolutely. As far as Dean is concerned, we have received an order and we will obey that order. Whereas Sam is much more why? What?
Yes.
How do you know it's from Dad? Why do you think we should go here? We should be trying to find him. We shouldn't be working cases. And it's a source of conflict for the brothers that we're going to see a lot in this
Yeah, big
episode
time.
and coming over into the next one. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, big time.
Okay, hitting play. So Dean is telling Sam about the case that we just saw about the police officer, normal family, standard squabbles, but by all accounts, a normal family. I want to point this out. So we've got a newspaper article in the journal about the asylum, and immediately on the opposite page is an entry about Wendigo. And that's going to come up a little bit later. But they're arguing over whether or not they should go to the Roosevelt Asylum, and Dean is like, I'll be packed in 5 minutes. We're going. We have an order. This is the way that it is." At this point, Sam drops the argument, but again, as Lynn and I were just saying, that's something that's going to come back in a minute. here they are. We've got so Richard Haddam wrote this episode. This is the second and final episode written by him. The other one was Phantom Traveler. We have the surviving officer, the veteran officer in the bar. Dean, his pretext is that he's a reporter and he's really pushing this guy really hard for a story. And this guy's like, look, I don't want to give you any kind of details. You need to go away. And here comes Sam to the rescue saying, show this guy some respect, get out of here. He tosses Dean out on his ear and offers to buy the officer a drink. So this is the
It's like
way.
that good cop, bad cop thing.
Indeed, indeed. And I think that Sam is really enjoying telling this guy that Dean is a jerk.
No, yeah. Oh, yeah. Just, oh, I love that. I had to sell it.
I just said, yeah, like you shoved me kind of hard there. I'm going to pause this because I would call this a fourth wall break here. Because Dean complains that Sam shoved him too hard. Sam says, I had to sell it, and makes a comment about it being method. To which Dean goes, huh? Which, as actors, they know what method acting is. So let's take a look at I have paused it. Let's take a look at our bingo cards here. And Christ on a bike, I have a fourth wall break.
Now that's a new expression I have not heard come out of
Christ
your
on a
mouth.
bike. That is the
Uh,
Brits are fond of saying Christ on a bike. I have stolen that from our neighbors across the pond.
uh, which and
Do
that
you have one? Do you have one?
I'm hunting and no, I do
Oh, damn it. Okay, here we go.
not.
Okay, I know. Excuse me. Okay, hitting play. And this is it was directed by Guy B. Excuse me.
Throats on fire.
So this is the first episode from he will be a recurring director. We're going to see a lot from him, and this is the very first one that he does. They are climbing in. I think this is kind of a cool little flip that
I
Dean
was gonna
does.
say that's awesome.
That's kind of hot. So they have hopped the fence in a very manly way. Again, we've got all of the empty beer bottles. They are uh, in the asylum. Once again, I know I mentioned this. I think in the pilot they were in Riverview Hospital. I mentioned it then, but this is a regular location for them. It's served as a hospital, a prison, an apartment building, and it's rumored to be haunted in real life. So I'm going to pause this here just for a second because um, we have Dean looking in the journal. And remember, I said a minute ago, the article was opposite a page about a Wendigo. And here we've
Yes.
got the exact same article and it's opposite an entirely different page. So at some point between the scenes, they shuffled the pages around a bit in the journal. All right, hitting pay, hitting play, hit pay, hit pay, hit pay. And pardon me. There, uh, Dean says, "Well, if the kids are spelunking in the asylum, spelunking is cave diving. So it's kind of a fun word to use for going through a haunted asylum." Um, And they're headed into the South Wing. According to the article and the notes in John's journal, there was a riot. And a lot of people were killed, and that was what resulted in the asylum being shut down. I'm going to pause this because Dean has an EMF detector.
That I know I have.
Oh, I hope I don't.
Uh,
I do not. Yes. Know what I'm gonna do. I I was a little worried about this one, so I have a jar of bourbon cherries. I got myself a couple. I'm gonna I'm gonna do a palate cleanser.
All right, cheers.
More for you.
Yeah, I made sure that that was a smaller one.
And
No,
you even like the taste of yours.
vodka hits me faster.
I I'm no judgment. You drink what you feel comfortable drinking, but
Oh, trust me, believe me.
I'm trying to drink as little as I can reasonably get away with of mine. Um,
No, no, I like mine. I just
Yep.
ah.
You're a grown ass woman. You drink what you
Oh,
want to drink.
I'm
Um,
planning on it. Trust me.
all right, I'm hitting play. Dean just called Sam Haley Joel, which is of course a Sixth Sense reference. And he's making jokes about Sam being psychic and perhaps he'll pick up on something. At this point, EMF detector is not going off. He calls him Patricia Arquette and Jennifer Love Hewitt. Holy crap! How creepy is this headless doll sitting here? Like,
Only slightly.
only the tiniest bit
Only
creepy.
slightly.
The other thing I want to point out is this chair here. This
Yeah.
is an obstetrics and gynecology chair. So, like, as Dean is talking about, like the kinds of experiments they would conduct on the patients, electroshock lobotomies, there's this obstetrics and gynecology exam chair in the background. So,
Yeah.
we know that they were doing some pretty horrible things to these
Oh yeah.
patients.
Mhm.
Dean is making some um, The Shining references,
Oh, of course.
which Sam doesn't pick up on, so he makes the joke a second time because it's always funnier the second time you tell the same joke.
See, I wasn't sure whether he didn't get it or he was just irritated at the assignment and just was choosing to ignore it, which is the way
Yeah.
I took it. Like
Either
the
way, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, so it was like the I'm irritated at you. Enough with the bad jokes. Let's just get on with this and get the hell out of here.
Yeah, yeah, no, you're quite likely right. Either way, telling the same joke twice doesn't make it funnier.
No, 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 it doesn't. Not unless it's like, okay, the person clearly didn't hear me, but
Right.
it's like, okay, clearly there, like, I love watching in this particular episode. Usually, I feel like Sam is better at covering up his frustration with his brother
Yeah.
or just lets it go easier. And in this episode, I feel like it's written all over his face almost the entire episode.
Yes, Sam is really frustrated. This magazine that Sam is reading, and he tosses it down, this Men's Health magazine, includes an interview with Supernatural's Jared Padalecki. So, so if we hadn't had the fourth wall break earlier, I would have called a fourth wall break here. Um, so Sam has gone to get some therapy with a Dr. Ellicott. This is the son of Dr. Sam Ellicott, who ran the asylum and was in charge. He was the one doing the experiments on the patients at the time that the riot occurred. And he's trying to be smooth. He's asking all kinds of questions. And Dr. Ellicott is like, dude, we're on your dollar. Like you're paying for this 50-minute hour. Do you really want to talk about an old legend at an asylum? Like And what I like about this, and this is a former occupational hazard, I always pay attention to how therapists are portrayed on screen. And I have to say, I like how they characterize Dr. Ellicott, that he sees Sam as deflecting. He's not taking any of his bullshit. He calls him on it. And ultimately he says, okay, I'll make you a deal. You tell me something true, and I'll tell you something about the history of the asylum. And what he asks is, so tell me about your brother. And we see Sam do this, well, so, excuse me.
Yeah. Which
Go
come
ahead.
which I feel like this just it's sort of like a the best analogy I can come up with at this very second is a simmering pot. And
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like the heat is just getting turned up. Like it's not even having to get turned up. It's just it's on one temperature and just it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter through this in
Yeah.
just throughout this episode.
Yeah. Pressure is building.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah.
And so now Sam has come out of his therapy session. He's not telling Dean what he and the doctor talked about. Dean is a little frustrated that he was in there so long, and it's like, dude, he had a 50-minute hour. Like, what did you think he was going to be in there? Like, when did you think he was going to come out? So I don't know if he figured Sam was going to make some kind of, oh, look at the time, I need to go, um but we never find out, but I'm going to presume that Sam made use of this time. um so they decide they're going to go back to the hospital after dark. They've now gotten the story about the patients rioting, and that the bodies were never recovered. So they're like, oh great, we've got an asylum with a bunch of bodies, with spirits attached to them. No wonder this place is a hotbed of activity.
Yep.
Um, and we've got
I,
two
I
really
love this line. I thought we were going to a movie, but this
mm,
is better. Who the hell thinks this is better than a movie?
yeah. So I I think in his mind she's gonna get scared and fall. Oh, dead pigeon. Ugh, so gross. I think he figures she's gonna get scared and fall into his arms, and he's gonna get laid. But that's not how his evening goes. Um, so she's saying she wants to leave. He's like, no, no, come on, it's okay, because we don't care about consent. Um, he's like, "Oh, I'll protect you." No, no, he's not going to protect her. He's going to leave her standing there by herself. So this date is not going well.
No.
He starts walking around the asylum with his flashlight. She stays behind because she thinks that this is bullshit because she's smart. Go ahead.
And of course, he then goes to some place where he can get enclosed into a room.
He's stuck.
And he's not
Um,
fazed by this closing door, which I do not get.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest. I would not be here in the first place. Haunted building? No, thank you.
And there
I
goes that flashlight again.
We've got, and there's this amazing shot of this, like behind him over his shoulder. We've got the silhouette of this, what appears to be a woman behind him. He thinks it's his girlfriend. I love how this is shot. This is a really great scene here. She pulls him in for a kiss. And then he hears the girlfriend calling him, Gavin, where are you? She steps back into the light, and all we see then is him just absolutely terrified. So, whatever he's seen is something really frightening to him. Um, I do want to mention this actor, Nicholas D'Agosto. So he was in Heroes, and he played Harvey Dent in the show Gotham. There's later on in the series, there's an actor who joins the cast. Lynn, you have not met this actor yet, but his name is Misha Collins, and he will play Harvey Dent in Gotham Knights. So
Okay.
we have two people playing Harvey Dent in the same show. Excuse me. The EMF detector is going off. Sam has his little camcorder out. He sees the little spirit balls. He says it's orbiting. There's that great shot of like something walking past the camera. The boys turn around. There's nothing. So they're continuing to walk through this asylum at
Oh, look,
night.
I love that
Oh,
shot.
this is we've got this creepy spirit, and he's got a, I'm going to talk more about this in a second, but he's got this like wound in the inside corner of his eye, and he's in a straitjacket, but the brothers have not seen him. They're back looking around. They're not as of yet finding anything, but they're going through the exam rooms, and it's incredibly creepy. Serge Ladouceur did such a good job with this. Like it's very dark. It's lit. Serge Ladouceur is the director of photography. There's very little light other than their flashlights. And it's got this really creepy kind of claustrophobic feel that I really love. And here comes a ghost. She's horribly wounded. She's coming right at Sam. And here comes Dean with salt, the rock salt shotgun rounds. He shouts at Sam, "Get down." He shoots at the ghost, and poof, she's gone. And Sam is already starting to piece together. This is a little weird. She didn't try to hurt me. Lynn, go ahead.
I just, I'm starting, well, I don't think I'm just starting to realize it now. If I'm not mistaken, the two ghosts that we just saw, did they not both have the same injury?
Hers, I think, was much more severe. But yeah, it's definitely centered around the eye. Excuse me, which I'm gonna have more to say about a little bit later. Um, so here they have found Catherine. She was hiding. This is the girlfriend, and she says, um, she's here with her boyfriend. This is Kat. They're like, "What are you doing here?" It's like, my boyfriend, Gavin, he really wanted to come. I kind of didn't, but he's a dumbass, so here we are. And um they can't, and so she's saying to them there's somebody else in the hospital, and she's like, "No, I've seen some shit today." She's really uncomfortable. Dean says, "Okay, we're gonna get you out of here." She's like, "No, no, I can't leave Gavin." They end up, they're trying to talk her out of it. She's refusing to go without her boyfriend. So I'm liking Kat. She's a tough cookie. I like her. They split up. She goes with Dean. Sam is by himself. And they're continuing to search. And now they're looking for Gavin. And there's this great shot here through these windows where Dean just stops. He's like, "Look, I got a question for you. You've seen horror movies, right? Do me a favor. Next time you see one, pay some fucking attention to it. If a place is haunted, don't go in. Don't. Just don't do it." And again, we've got that dark shadow moving across in front of the windows. Pardon me. Sam is continuing to hunt through, and now he's found Gavin, who is, I think we can call this, well, I don't know. Can we call this somebody being knocked out, or has he just passed out?
I think he just passed out because
He
the
just passed
because
out.
the because I think he just freaked out and keeled over because I mean the ghosts are not hurting anybody.
Right, right. Yeah, I would agree with you. So let's not call this a knocked out because he just got scared and oh, he got the vapors and he passed out. So Gavin has fainted, and Sam is trying to find out, like, did the ghost hurt you? And he's like, she kissed me. She was hideous. I'm traumatized. And Sam's like, okay, tough man, come with me. Um,
Which I mean, I which cracks me up because he talks about how, like, and I believe he's already said it, so I don't think this is a spoiler. How her face is all screwed up,
mhm.
and yet did he not notice that when he was kissing her?
Apparently not because it was dark. Okay, I'm pausing because so Gavin said dude and now Dean just said son of a bitch. So let's check our bingo cards. And while we're checking our bingo cards, yeah, I mean, I think that's what Gavin is saying like I I've been injured and ugly chick kissed me. Like,
Get over
oh,
yourself, dude.
cat Kat, my girlfriend, you can do much better than Gavin. Okay, so we're looking for dude and son of a bitch.
I
And if
I have I have a dude,
okay, and
and
if the bingo card gods are merciful, I will have neither.
well, you could always just eat a
Ah,
cherry.
damn it. I you only get one. I have a dude. I do not
Do I
see
have a
a son of a bitch. Okay. I'm
I'm
doing
surprised someone hasn't said seriously yet. With all the moronic things that have happened in this episode, that one kind of actually shocks me. Not
just
that I
you and me.
well, no, because then I'll have four in a row if someone says seriously. Mhm.
Okay. Any for you? Okay.
Dude, dude.
Okay.
So yeah, if I miraculously get a seriously and the boys talk at the same time, I actually have five in a row.
Oh, good for you. Well, let's see. You might have our very first winner, like legitimate winner. Let's see if we can get that for you. Okay, I'm hitting play.
Okay.
Dean is walking through the asylum with Kat. She starts to say, ow, you're hurting me. He turns around. He's like, I'm not touching you. And his flashlight has died. He sees with his lighter that something has grabbed her and has pulled her into an exam room with a big, heavy iron bar, the iron door.
Yeah.
He's trying to pry the door open. He can't. She's screaming. Uh, she's turning around. There's something very, very scary behind her. Dean is trying to get the door open with a pry bar. And that big, strong man is not able to get that door open. This, like, okay, understanding it's an abandoned asylum, this room appears to have like not just wear and tear on it. Some of these some of this damage looks like claw marks to me. So like
Yes.
this is not good. Um, she turns around. Yeah, those are claw marks.
Yeah.
So something not good happened in this room. She's
Oh my
scared.
god, look at that claw mark. I never noticed that claw mark on the wall
Yeah.
before.
And again, Lynn, to your point, he once again has this injury, the spirit that's in the room with her, around his eye region. Sam is saying to her, he's not trying to hurt you, he's trying to talk to you. You need to be brave and just let him tell you what he's going to tell you. So she, she gathers her courage and man, I definitely would have needed a wardrobe change at this point. Um the spirit leans into her and Dean says, I hope you're right about this. And Sam says, yeah, me too. And then the door pops open. So thank goodness Sam was correct. And Kat walks out uninjured. Spirit is gone. And she says the spirit has told her 137. The spirit whispered to her 137. So they're like, okay, it must be a room number. So they're getting more and more clues now of what's going on. And Sam is insisting they're not trying to hurt anyone. They're trying to communicate. Go ahead.
No,
Oh,
I'm honestly just listening to you.
okay. I apparently bumped the pause button by accident. So I'm hitting play.
Yeah,
That was
no.
a whoopsie.
Yeah, no,
Um,
no, that my hand was nowhere actually near it. I was
Hands up.
genuinely just listening.
Um, okay, so they're gonna go. So they're splitting up again. Dean is like, "Damn it, I'm gonna go find room 137." Um, and Sam is taking Kat and Gavin out. Now, I have in my notes the boys talk at the same time. So I think we were yapping and we missed it. We'll pause this in just a moment. And we'll check our game cards for the boys talking at the same times. But what's fun here is Kat asks Sam, "So, Dean, is he your boss?" And Sam is like, "No, no, not at all." Okay, so I'm hitting pause. Let's take a look at our Stupornatural game cards. Please tell me I
Because
don't
I
have the
do have
boys.
the boys talk at the same time.
Okay, I'm hoping I do not. Talking about porn, Sam's hair. Okay, no, I mean, yay! I do not. Whew! More for you. I
So if I
dodged a
can get
bullet
it
on that one.
seriously, I have 5 in a row.
What? Okay. So Dean has found room 137. And he's jamming the door open. He's got Dr. Ellicott's sign torn off on the floor. And there are file cabinets here. He's going through some of the files. He's looking around to see what kind of clues he can see, if any. Cut back to Sam trying to get Kat and Gavin out of the asylum, but all of the doors are being supernaturally held closed.
Of
Um,
course.
so Gavin's like, "How are we supposed to get out?" And Sam's like, "Yeah, that's the point. Like we're not getting out." So he starts to ask the two of them. And this is something I think is kind of fun about this episode is Kat is like, "Oh, it's the patients," and Sam's like, "I don't think it's the patients. Like the patients aren't trying to hurt them. There's something else going on here." As we cut back to Dean, as he's I just hit my mic. I apologize to anybody who just heard a giant thump. So Dean finds an old leather satchel hidden in the wall. He says, "This is why I get paid the big bucks." He
Yeah,
starts
0.
going through the records, and it's labeled a patient's journal. And there are some great drawings in here of like some really creepy instruments. There's, saws, there's giant syringes. I'm going to pause it here on this page. And what this is it's a drawing of a person's face. We can see it's from the side and we can see the brain. And then there's a big metal skewer coming in through the eye. So these are these injuries that we've been seeing on the patients, these eye injuries. So this particular illustration is one that when I took history of psych classes back in when I was doing my undergrad, like this is a legitimate textbook drawing from back in the day. This is legitimately how they would perform lobotomies with a big metal spike. They wouldn't go in through the skin of the eye. They would go in through the corner of the eye, and kind of around the eyeball and into the space in the skull where the ocular nerve attaches to the brain. And they would just kind of wiggle it around. And what it would do, I know, like, the best state of the art patient care. Now, this is not something that we do now. This is barbaric. I like it's this is kind of a shameful part of the history of how we treated people with mental illness. Um, but what they were looking to do was to sever the connections between the frontal lobe and the rest of the brain, which made people calmer because you've now separated all of their higher order thought processes and the part of the brain that's kind of responsible for our personalities. You've separated that from the rest of the brain. So sure, people are calmer because now they're essentially vegetables. It- so obviously not, this is not a good thing. But it, what they're kind of highlighting here is like this doctor was not doing necessarily fringe experiments. Like there was a period of time where like this was kind of state of the art treatment for people with mental health, and it's a shameful part of our history, but that's why we're seeing all these spirits with damage around their eyes. On that happy note, I'm hitting play. And Dean is continuing to go through this patient journal. And he again makes a Shining reference, all work and no play. We cut back to Sam. He's looking everywhere. He can't find a way out. And he's saying, look, we're not going to panic. His cell phone rings and he hears what he believes to be Dean telling him he's in the basement, he's in trouble, hurry. He says to Gavin and Kat, can either one of you handle a shotgun? Gavin's like, what are you talking about? No. And Gavin's like, I can. Or yeah, Gavin, Kat's like, I can. I've been skeet shooting. I can handle a shotgun. And Gavin's like, what? And so we've got this great shot of Kat with the shotgun, and she racks around into the chamber. She's ready to go. Here comes Sam down into the boiler room, and this is a really close parallel. Like a lot of the shots are very, very similar to what we saw with Officer Kelly in the cold open. Here goes Sam into the biohazard room. He's got his flashlight. Um, Very similar shot of the door. Very similar look to Sam. Um, Checking out the room. He's shining his flashlight around. And in a second here, his flashlight is going to malfunction. Where he does the same thing Officer Kelly did. He's checking the button, he's smacking it around. Naughty flashlight has gone off. And we get a very similar shot of that door creaking open. Um,
and that chair.
and yeah, the same shot of the chair. Well spotted. Um, so we know what happened to Officer Kelly. Well, we saw the results of what happened to Officer Kelly. We didn't see what actually happened to him. So here we've got, I keep knocking into my microphone. I'm sorry if y'all are hearing the thumping noise. Um, Sam is continuing to search. We've got the creepy shadow on this curtain behind him. Sam thinks there's something behind the curtain, and he tosses back the curtain and there's nothing there. So whatever it is has now gotten away. He turns around and Freaky Doctor says, don't be afraid. I'm going to make it all better. Uh, Next thing we've got Gavin walking around. And before he left, Sam, when he handed the shotgun to Kat, said, you see anything that's not me, shoot it. So she's sitting here, she's ready, she's got her shotgun, and she tells Gavin, if we make it out of here alive, we are breaking up. She sees a shadow. Dean pokes his head around the corner, and she does just what Sam told her to do. She tries to shoot him. Fortunately, she misses. He says, son of a. He comes around And he's like, why are you still here? Because he thinks Sam has gotten them out. He said, no, Sam told us to wait here. He got a call from you. Dean's like, I didn't call him. They're like, well, he got a call. He said it was from you and it was from the basement. He picks up Sam's gun and he puts it in his pocket and he's like, watch out for ghosts and watch out for me. Like, don't shoot me.
I love that.
Oh, we've
Oh,
got a
it's Sammy.
Sammy.
We have a Sammy.
We have a Sammy. Let's pause it. Check our cards. No whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Dean calls Sam Sammy. God damn it.
I'm just waiting for a seriously.
So you have 4 in a row. I have 3 in a row. Now, I will definitely not. Well, now wait a minute. Okay, I've got 2 ways I can do this at this point. I need a Bobby says balls or idiots, and considering the fact that we haven't met Bobby yet, my chances of not getting that one are good. And I need a busty Asian beauties, which I doubt they're going to find that in the asylum, so I think I'm good. A gratuitous blood spatter, or I should say, or a gratuitous blood spatter and a joke about Sam's hair. So at this point, my chances of getting 5 in a row are very, very slim, and I'm okay with that. I was
I was like,
so,
I'll fully admit at this point, I won the damn 5 in a row. I
uh,
need one spot.
you earned it. Well, I have a Sammy. Okay. All right. Did I mention this one's not good? Have I mentioned that by any chance? Uh,
Just a couple of
the clues are subtle, but y'all are intuitive. You're gonna pick it up. Okay, I'm hitting play. And now Dean is in the basement. Oh, and he's found Sam. And he's like,
Oh, Lord.
Sam's like, oh yeah, I'm totally fine. I think something lured me down here. Uh, excuse me. So Dean is saying, okay, yeah, this dude was experimenting on his patients, some really freaky stuff. And Sam immediately says, no, it's the patient's fault. It's the patient's fault. The patient's pried it. And so he's defending the doctor, which we know now is a clue. And Dean is saying, no, they rioted because they were being tortured. He says to Sam, the doctor had this theory that if he could exacerbate their rage, they would get over it and they'd be all better. Um, and Dean starts to say, you know what, if I had been a patient, I'd drag his ass down here and I'd get a little revenge. So he's continuing to look. Sam is like, no, I've already looked. There's nothing down here. We should go. Um, Now they're both in room 137. They're looking everywhere. Sam's like, I've already looked. There's no hidden room down here. And Dean starts to hear like the sound of wind through a crack in the door. So he's hunting. He's like, oh yeah, there's definitely a draft here. There's another room here. Sam points the shotgun at Dean. Dean turns around. He realizes Sam is pointing a shotgun at him and hears the goo dripping out of Sam's nose. It's blood or goo. Something is
Yeah.
dripping out of Sam's nose. Dean says, "Put the shotgun down." And Sam immediately says, "What, is that an order?" So they're back into this fight that they've been having since the beginning of the episode. And Sam really starts letting Dean have it. He's like, "Shut your mouth." Dean's like, "Oh, that's filled with rock salt. It's not going to hurt me." Sam shoots Dean, and Dean goes flying through the wall, which means I am going to pause this And let's check our cards and see if we have someone gets thrown up against a wall here. God dag nabbit, I do.
Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing.
Oh, oh boy. All right. Do you have one too? Just
Uh,
just me.
no, no, I don't.
Mm, mm. Don't want to swallow it. That's what she said. All right. Okay. Hmm. All right. Hitting play. Oh, Dean has now been knocked out. Well, before I hit play, let's check our cards here. I have someone gets knocked out. Son of a bitch. I would
Dude.
have not eaten the cherry if I'd known I had two. Cheers.
Here, you know what? I'll do cheers with you, even though I don't have
Yeah,
one.
because yours tastes so awful. You're gonna solidarity. You're gonna drink a solidarity.
Think of the fact that I'm drinking vodka. You don't like vodka.
Mhm. That is true. I do not care for vodka. Okay, well, I now have a third way of getting five in a row, but I would need the flutter of angel wings, and there are no angels in Supernatural, and I would need a Casa Erotica. And I'm just knocking into all kinds of stuff. I'm a hot mess here. So, if any of you have seen the little promotional video that Lynn and I posted from Saturday, I said we were at a local winery. They had a food truck. I went out to get my food, and I was trying to pay, and I was struggling. I couldn't get the right card out of my wallet. It was not pretty, and I said, "Oh man, I'm a hot mess." And the young man said, "Hey, at least you're hot."
Made her day.
Oh my goodness, that was a good day. Like,
Yes, yes, it was.
I'm like, oh, you're adorable, young man. He made me laugh. Um, yeah, I now have three ways to not get five in a row. Okay. And this is the thing. So Dean says like, "Oh, it's just rock salt. It's not going to hurt. It's not going to kill me." Like that's got to sting like a son of a bitch because now
Yeah,
like that's like salt in any kind of a wound hurts a
hurts.
lot.
Yes, yes, it
So
does.
I'm not convinced that this is as minor of an injury as Dean is saying. And either way, that is going to hurt a lot. Okay, so hitting play, Dean is regaining consciousness, and Sam is standing over him. Dean is saying, "We've all we have to do is burn Dr. Ellicott's bones. You'll go back to normal." And Sam is like, "No, no, this is the best I've felt in a long time. Are you so desperate for Dad's approval that you're just going to do everything he says without question? I have a mind of my own. I'm not pathetic like you." And Dean does this kind of fun thing. Again, Sam is like, "I'm sick of you telling me what to do all the time. We're no closer to finding Dad. Like this is everything he's been keeping inside that he's just,
Mm-hmm.
Lynn, to
Oh
use
yeah.
your analogy, it's just boiling over."
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
Dean hands him his pistol and he's like, "You're so mad at me? Kill me. You think you can kill your own brother? Here you go." Sam points the gun at him right in his face. And Dean says, "Do you hate me that much? You think you can kill your own brother?" And Sam just starts pulling the trigger. And it's empty.
Empty.
And
But
so
it
he
but
just
it proves in that moment though he could have done it.
he could have done it. Had that been loaded, he absolutely would have just shot his brother in the head. Dean gets up, he hits Sam, knocks him out. So if we didn't have the knockout from earlier, we'd get it now. And Dean stands up and says, "Man, I'm not going to give you a loaded pistol."
Now, actually, I'm going to
Now
pause
he's
this
knocked out.
for a second
Okay.
because can we consider that a where is it? Sam gets conked in the head. Sam gets conked on the head.
Ooh, so for me, and we might need Wizard Dave to be a tiebreaker. For me, I want to see like a blow with an object, like a tire iron or something. Like I don't just want a punch.
Okay, well, no,
Um,
that believe me, I'm not looking for just. I'm not looking for a freebie here.
okay. I usually am looking for. Oh, Wizard Dave is agreeing that it's not a conk in the head, but he's saying, what about one of the boys drops his weapon? And I would agree with that. And God damn it, I have that one too. Ah, who, who, who did I make so angry that they have cursed me with this? One,
All
two,
I want is a
three, four.
seriously. That's all I want.
I now have 4 ways I could get 5 in a row. Okay, quit stalling, Liz. Don't want to swallow it. Don't want to swallow it. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Wizard Dave, for pointing that out for us. Okay, I'm hitting play. We've got a sorry Sammy, which we would count if we didn't already. All right, somebody gets something. Okay, here we are. We're caught up. Okay. So now Dean is looking for Dr. Ellicott. Now he's in room 137. He's hunting around with his flashlight. There goes Dr.
Oh,
Ellicott walking across. Oh, okay. Dean is continuing to hunt and he spots a cabinet with the doors closed and he sees a little bit of hair sticking out around the edge. Somebody has not gotten a good bikini wax and they've got a little bit of hair sticking out around the edge.
oh God.
Dean opens the cabinet
No.
and it's a dead
Dead
body,
body.
which apparently still smells ooky, but didn't smell ooky from the outside. So Dean puts the shotgun down, which is not very smart. He gets the salt out, and so he doesn't notice that his flashlight is starting to flicker.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, he's trying to hold, apparently, he's had something that doesn't taste any better than what I've been drinking. He's trying to hold his dinner down. And so now he gets tossed back, and here's Dr. Ellicott has his hands on Dean's head. We've got the lightning bolts. He's doing the Emperor Palpatine thing. He's got lightning bolts coming from his fingertips. Dean manages to get his lighter out of his bag and he throws it onto the body. And we've got this a little earlier, we had this really great shot of Spirit Dr. Ellicott and Dr. Ellicott's body in the same frame, which is pretty cool. Here we've got the body just starting to disintegrate and it collapses into dust. And I think that's a really cool effect that they do here. And which means that we have the boys burn a body. So I'm hitting pause. Back to the game cards, Stupornatural cards. Do we have I would really love to not have the boys burn a body, and I don't. Yes,
And
I
neither.
escaped.
Nope, neither do I.
Neither one of us have the boys burn a body. Okay, back to our show. Hitting play again. So Dean is alive. Yay!
Yay!
Sam is alive. Yay!
Yay!
He's
And
not mean
so,
anymore. Go ahead.
but we
But what?
realize we realized that he was, in my opinion, he was not completely under a spell that whole time.
It's well, I mean, yeah, I think you're right that the feelings that came up were real.
Yeah.
Um it's just he the things he normally hides, he was saying. I am prepared to call this a heartfelt bromance because so now Sam is apologizing. He's saying I couldn't control it. I didn't mean it. He meant it.
Yeah, I was gonna
Um
see, look at I think the look on Dean's face says it all right there.
yeah.
You didn't, because it's almost, I compare what just happened to Sam sort of like a drunken night where you you know what you're saying, the filter has gone.
You know what, I think that's a really great analogy, and I completely agree with you that whatever Dr. Ellicott was doing, it didn't change people's personalities per se. It just they stopped hiding. Like I mean, we all think mean things on occasion, and you don't say it because you're being an asshole and it's not fair, and you just keep it to yourself. But alcohol removes your filter, and you say things you wouldn't otherwise have said. People are like, oh, he's a nice guy, but he was drunk. No, no, your friend is not a nice guy. Like, this is who he is. It's just these are the things he doesn't usually say. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So let's check our game cards here, and let's see if we have a heartfelt bromance. I thank you, Jesus. I do not.
Uh, I do not either.
Okay, so neither one of us has that. So, and I think we're pretty close to the end here. So I think that is where we're going to land. But Dean, this is a no chick flicks moments kind of thing. Dean says, I'm not really a caring and sharing kind of guy. Like, Dean is like, okay, I know you meant every word you just said, and I'm okay
Yep.
with that. I'm letting it go.
Do
This is
you do you
our
think do you think he's okay with that? I don't think he is.
Mm, I think he doesn't want to talk about it because he's
Yeah,
not
I'll,
comfortable
I'll
talking
I'll
about
give
it
you
the whole
that one.
time. He's
I'll
not,
give you that one.
but let's talk about that in a second. So right now we've got Dean shirtless in bed. Sam is wearing a t-shirt. He gets a phone call and he says, Dad?
That.
And that is so this is the mid-season finale of episode 1, and that's the cliffhanger that they
Yeah.
end on going into the season break is they've been searching for the last 10 episodes for their father. They don't know if he's alive or dead. And in the last 5 seconds of this episode, they get a call from Dad confirming he's even alive.
Yep.
So personally, I think it's because of all of these phone calls they've been making trying to find him. That, if he's trying to exist under the radar, them calling everybody they know saying, hey, have you seen Dad is not in line with his plans. So
Yep.
I think that's why Dad calls in this moment, other than they needed a cliffhanger. for the mid-season finale. Um, so back to what we were talking about before. Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know that Dean is just letting it go, although hang on a second, I have a thought and it's trying to get around this really awful asylum. Um, I think that this is something we're going to see from Dean in the back half of the season. I so my opinion about this is not necessarily based on just what we've seen up to this point. There are things Dean chooses to just not address for the sake of keeping peace in the family. Now to your point, I don't think he's forgotten it. I think it's still swirling around in the pot. Um, but he's gonna say it's okay now for the sake of keeping peace with his brother,
Oh
in
yeah,
my
no,
opinion.
for right now, yeah. I'm purely going off of I've realized that with Jensenackles,
Hmm.
his like I don't want to say he's a man of few words because he's not.
No, but
He
he
he's a
does a
man.
lot.
He does it he's a man of few serious words.
He doesn't need words to communicate. Like
Yeah,
there's a
it's
lot, he's a very subtle actor, and there is a lot going on in his face that
yes.
he doesn't need to say for you to understand what's going on with him. I completely agree with you.
Yeah, so like to me that facial expression
Hmm.
said everything I needed to know
Yep.
of the and just that look in his eye said bullshit.
I do not disagree with you at all. But that is our episode. Let's take a look at our cards here. So I never got more than three in a row. You got four in a row. So you are closer to winning than I am. Let's see. I have one, three, six, eight. I have eight total X's. What do you have?
5.
Five. Ugh. The one I was really hoping not to get a lot of X's for.
Yes, and of course, and one of mine is the free space.
Well, yeah, me too. I mean, you the first one is always on the house.
Yes.
Um, Okay, well, I am prepared to say that I have resoundingly lost. So I may have more X's than you, but I lost.
Yeah, I will say my cocktail definitely tasted better.
Yeah, yeah, it couldn't have been worse.
Don't say that. We got a
Oh
lot
yeah,
of episodes left
we
to
do.
go.
We do. We have 327 episodes of cocktails left, or not left, but total.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, what did you think of this one? What one thing you loved and one thing you hated?
Now keep in mind, I've, there's really nothing I hated.
Mhm.
I've got to
Mhm.
be picky
Mm?
with the hate thing.
Yeah, it's a
Like,
good episode. It's really well done.
yes, yes, it's exceptionally well done.
Yeah.
Um, as much as it's creepy, so it's
Oh
not
yeah.
one I would watch again and again and again just because it's freaking creepy. But the only thing that I want to look at him and go, really? Is when the kid, because I know he's not probably actually, yeah, he probably is actually a kid, is kissing the ghost
Right.
and doesn't figure out it's his girlfriend. Now I realize that's the point of the scene,
It was in the
but
script.
yeah, it's in the script. But really? Like that's
Yeah.
the and again, it's in the script. I'm fully aware. I'm being picky.
No, I understand where you're coming from. Having many, many years ago. This is not recent. Don't call Child Protective Services. But having spent a little bit of time with a teenage boy or two when I was a teenager myself, don't call the cops. I don't know that they're paying a whole lot of attention. If they're getting laid, I don't know that they're particularly, concerned about the details when they're very young.
Potentially. I mean, again, I mean, I have been married for granted 25 years, been with my husband for closer to 30 at this point.
Yeah, you met
I
when you were in diapers.
yeah. I'd like to hope if someone came up to me in a darker room and started kissing me, I would recognize the difference between my husband and a ghost.
After 30 years, you better. I
I
get the impression that Kat and Gavin have not been together for terribly long. Um, now, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying I I was not surprised
yeah.
that he didn't do
I
it.
mean, I'm probably giving teenage boys a lot more credit than I maybe should.
Oh yeah.
Maybe.
Oh yeah. All right. So one thing you loved.
One thing I loved was the now granted it was under the influence of something, but the honesty that came out of Sam.
Yeah.
I and and Dean and it goes hand in hand with it. And Dean realizing it wasn't completely bullshit.
Yeah.
Like that he actually meant that. I loved that exchange and him realizing and the realizations that came out of that.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a highlight of the episode, definitely. For me, the thing that I think I love the most is this idea that not everything that looks like a monster is. And Sam is the one who picks up on it right away. That, Dean is like, they're angry spirits. We got to burn them. We got to burn all the bodies and excuse me. That'll fix everything. But with everything that's going on with Dean and let me try that again with Sam and these visions that he's been having, and he doesn't understand where they're coming from, and what it means for him and what abilities he may or may not have. For him to be the one who immediately pieces it together that just
Yeah.
because something looks scary from the outside doesn't mean it's actually trying to hurt you. It doesn't mean it's a monster. And I loved that aspect of it very much. Um,
I
as
could
far
not agree with you more, and that's
Yeah,
actually a that's brilliant. That is a
yeah,
brilliant pickup. I mean, not that that's a brilliant thing to point out.
yeah. Yeah, that's something I love about this one. As far as something I hated with the episode itself, honestly, I couldn't come up with anything. I don't think it's as good of an episode as Home, but I couldn't put my finger on any particular thing that makes it not be. Maybe it's because it doesn't quite have as much emotional impact as I think Home had, which makes me, not want to give it quite as high of a score. Um, but that means the thing that I hated the most about the episode was this fucking cocktail. Not good. Not good. All right. Anything you want to add?
No, I honestly think we have covered it all. I
I
honestly, I genuinely feel that we've left it all out on the table.
I agree. We left it on the field. So in which case that makes it last call. Thanks so much for coming along with us for the ride. If you like what we're doing here, be sure to tell your friends, Tell other folks about it so that they can enjoy the content too. Um, pardon me. Oh, that I'm sorry. It's sneaking up on me, folks. I'm sorry. Please like our videos, subscribe, comment. We love hearing from our SPN family. So please make sure to, if you want to get in touch with us, you can always send us an email at hunterfieldpodcast@gmail.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram also at Hunter Fuel Podcast, all one word. In our next episode, we will be watching season 1, episode 11, Scarecrow, when Sam decides he's not hanging around anymore. Until then, be safe, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye bye.